All the action from the first weekend of the Tour de France. Highlights coming up later here on ITV1. That's after a new series of bloody murder, and there's scenes some viewers may find disturbing.
A time of innocence. Makes you wish you could go back in time. Or does it?
Sunday morning, the 4th of March 1923, Glossop, Derbyshire. A little lad out for a wander with his granddad? No, just a neighbour. Tommy Wood was 4, Albert Burrows was 52. He had a grown-up daughter, but no son and no grandson. That's why he regularly took the little lad out for walks. That's what Tommy's parents and the neighbours in Back Kershaw Street thought. And he always asked if it was alright, except this time. When Tommy's mum and dad thought Tommy was at his granny's. Only he wasn't. They hadn't found any birds' nests, but it was only March, and the weather was still fresh. Maybe they'd find rabbits on the tops. Albert Burrows knew a lot about rabbits. He'd been poaching them all his life. Maybe Tommy would get a wild little rabbit as a pet. He didn't. The man came down from the moor alone. And he went for his dinner. And by evening, when Tommy's parents started to worry a bit, and then a lot, and the police were called in,
Panic started.
And the neighbours organised a search. Prospects for Tommy Wood weren't too rosy. But there was one man who would not give up hope of finding him alive and well. Albert Burrows. As darkness descended and not knowing where to look, over this wall, that wall, in the edge maybe, the locals couldn't see much point in carrying on. Except for one. Albert. Alone at last, but not quite.
Someone was watching closely. Very closely.
Inspector John Ellis Chadwick. Why wouldn't Albert Burrows stop?
Trying to prove a point, Albert.
It's funny, isn't it? You don't think of that sort of thing happening in the good old days, do you? It's what you warn kids about now. Because now it's dangerous, isn't it? Compared to when we were kids. Interesting man, Albert Burrows. Unusual CV. Bit of schooling, bit of farm labouring, never earning much. The munitions worker near Northwich, Cheshire, during the First World War, and suddenly getting a decent whack. Enough to support his wife and daughter in Glossop, and a bit on the side in Northwich, 20 odd years younger. And her illegitimate daughter, and her baby son, by Burrows. Well, why not, if you can pay for it? And as long as the war went on, he could. Mind you, he had married her, without telling his wife. In fact, he had a criminal record going back 30 years or more. Oh, not your usual. Robbery with violence, prison. Robbery with violence again, prison, again. No, more interesting than that. Interesting to Inspector Chadwick anyway. 14 convictions over 30 years. For horse stealing, larceny, false pretences, assault, cruelty to a cat, and bigamy. Not much of a pattern really, except some of the assaults. Where charges have been withdrawn to avoid embarrassment. Charges of alleged assaults against children. Little children. You reckon? Fair bet. Burrows didn't deny he'd been on the moors with the kid. He wasn't that daft. He knew they'd have been seen. But he'd left Tommy sitting on a rock, and he'd gone to try and catch him a rabbit, but failed. And when he got back to where Tommy had been, he wasn't there. Tommy? Tommy! Demonstrating how he'd called and looked for the boy.
Oh yeah, Burrows. The inspector doesn't look the least impressed.
By the end of Monday the 5th of March, there was still no sign of Tommy Wood. But Burrows was now saying he hadn't been the last person to see Tommy. On his way home for his dinner about 1:15 or 1:30, he'd seen Tommy messing about with some older lads, near where the brook comes close to some hen pens, and a mate of his had seen him too. A fella he'd stopped to have a chat to, called Tommy Shortland. See Tommy? Little Tommy Wood Tommy? With them bigger lads? See?
Good mates, these two. You'd agree with anything.
Trouble was, Tommy Shortland was very short-sighted.
The search carried on. What else could they do?
The police had to poke around anywhere where the little lad might have been. And that included where Burrows said he'd been.
Scrubland, rivers, you name it. It got searched.
Sir? The whip had been put there to be found, weighted down by a small rock. And when it turned out the same constable had checked the same bit of stream the day before, and was sure the whip had not been there then, Chadwick decided somebody was having him on. And he had a good idea who, too. So let's tell you what I think, Burrows. I think Tommy Wood is dead. And I think he's somewhere up there. What do you think?
You're in the shit, Burrows. You know where he is, and you don't think I'll find him. But I think I will.
He could be anywhere. He could be... He could even be in there. Down there. Bloody deep that is, you know. It's from an old mine. And little lads like to go exploring, don't they? He didn't cross the road. And I've seen him if he had. He never crossed that road.
Why mention road?
He must have gone that way, must have done. Don't you think so? Sir? Hello? Inspector? Sir?
What better place to solve a problem but a local boozer? A pint, a short, and of course, a map.
Chadwick had told Burrows he'd have men searching in the old air vent in the morning. Burrows had said he'd be happy to help. Burrows had relaxed. Why? And what had he said more than once? Something he badly wanted Chadwick to agree with. What was it? He never crossed the road. He didn't cross the road. I'd seen him if he had. He never crossed the road. And what did that mean? That with or without Burrows, that little lad definitely did cross that road. But why? Going where?
Come on, Chadwick. Be scared, Burrows. Frightened, Burrows?
It should be. There was another air vent, and it was exactly where Burrows didn't want him to look. All the places he'd been to with Burrows, except here. Chadwick decided that was where they'd look in the morning. The moors Glossop. 1923, and 4-year-old Tommy Wood has disappeared.
They never existed, but evil always is. Smug bastard. Little Tommy's whip found exactly where it was placed. A picture of innocence. A man on the trail.
Albert Burrows on his way to help search a mine air vent high on the hill. Albert Burrows, a man with more than one dark secret. Confident he's put the cops off the scent forever until there's nobody there. Why not? Maybe just haven't started yet. Or has it all gone wrong, Albert? They're going to investigate his secret hiding place, the lower vent.
A simple grappling iron lowered into the air vent. Who knows what it could reveal?
Is this the discovery everybody's been dreading?
Panicking a bit. More than a bit. The old sound needed an answer.
That's all I'll ever find. Rubbish. Looking for Burrows. Or maybe not. It wasn't an old basket this time. The grappling iron had hooked onto the short trousers of a dead little boy. Tommy Wood had been found.
Everyone knew.
He's up there. Burrows. Yep, I've seen you, mate. needed a fast runner. Don't let them get him. He's wanted alive. So there he was, no good at running. Thought not.
Nothing like a good lynching.
Find a tree. Going to swing. You're going to dangle and strangle.
Justice had to be done. Sad but true.
And they got him. Alive. Just about. Burroughs would have to wait a while before he was hanged. Why was Tommy killed? Just to shut him up. He'd been raped. Brutally. And he was probably alive when he was thrown down the shaft. Can I get you anything? A brew? A drink of water? I'm innocent. I am innocent. No, I am innocent. Totally innocent. Innocent? Yeah. Chadwick decides to start by making it just a conversation. But what about? He decides against the weather or football and plumps for... How's that lass you had the baby by? What? What's she called? Hannah Calladine? Aye. Doing alright, is she? Why? What do you want to know for? I just thought of her. Just thought a woman on her own with 2 little kids. Can't be easy, eh? Burroughs thinks this isn't probing, just a bit of chit-chat. Works in a provision shop on Stratford Road, Manchester. Still sees her sometimes. Brings the kiddies to see him.
Well, this was his story anyway.
3 years before, Burroughs' wife had taken him to court for maintenance, when Hannah Calladine had turned up from a family home near Crewe and moved in with Burroughs, so Mrs. Burroughs moved out. Hannah, Nance as she was known to friends and family, had a 14-month-old son by Burroughs and a 4-year-old daughter by another fella. Chadwick had wondered why he'd not seen her for 3 years. She wasn't local, but now he knew. She'd moved out and gone to Manchester, and Mrs. Burroughs had moved back in with Burroughs. Sorted. If Burroughs was to be believed. The crowd has long since gone, but some of Glossop's finest are having a very bad day.
It's not just about the little lad anymore. There's more searching to be done, deeper inside the lower air vent.
They couldn't rush. It took days just to get the water out from the bottom. Then it rained hard and it took days more to get rid of that. Then it was mud, stones, bits of old machinery, broken furniture, bottles, and then bones, and bits of bones, and bits of clothes, and even bits of flesh. The only remains of Hannah Calladine, a 4-year-old daughter Elsie, a few bits of a baby boy, Burroughs' own son. The cops established that Hannah and her baby son were last seen by neighbours leaving Burroughs' house on Sunday evening, the 11th of January, 1920. He was carrying the thick stick he always carried. He was seen coming home alone later that night, and was seen again at 6 o'clock next morning, holding hands with Hannah's little daughter, going down a lane that led to the moors and the old air shaft. When he came back on his own, a neighbour said, "You took your walk early today?" And Burroughs said, "Yeah, I was taking little Elsie to her mother," which was almost the only true thing he ever said. He wouldn't tell the neighbour where Hannah had gone, though. He said she wanted that to be a secret, which it was, for 3 years.
How could that have been kept a secret? The answer, simple. Write letters to Anna's mother saying all was well, pretending that they were from
Inspector Chadwick reckoned that if Burroughs had been able to afford to support his wife and Nance and the kids, he probably would have done, instead of murdering them. Yeah, well, maybe. But what about Tommy Woods? What did he have to do with money?
Burroughs had developed a very nasty habit.
Wonder how many other little kids he'd abused. How many other women and kids he might have murdered. We'll never know. He never even admitted to the murders he was hanged for. Not in questioning, no prison, no court. Not even as he stood up on the gallows waiting for the drop.
Or in a day's work for Britain's #1 hangman.
Innocent. I am totally in...
On and on he went, protesting his innocence.
Oh, shut up, Burroughs.
A little trip to the lab before all this might have been a good idea.
Burroughs was one of the last men hanged by John Ellis, the Rochdale executioner. He didn't agree with the new rules on how far a man should drop and announced his retirement. Shortly after, he announced to his family that he was tired of life and had decided to shoot himself. And did. Only he missed. Just blew a bit of the bottom jaw off. He did the job right a few weeks after. Cut his throat with his finest razor. Makes you wonder though, doesn't it? Why would an expert hangman not hang himself? Perhaps he knew something that can only be guessed at.